All right, welcome back to day number 5. We're on Friday. This is one of my favorites. This is the understanding the macro and the micro. Before I get into that, hope you enjoyed Nathan Harris's words of wisdom. He's really active on LinkedIn, and he is a really great mentor to my students, so I hope that you do indeed reach out to him. This next one, though, is among my favorite because this is where, honestly, a lot of times you can put these thoughts into actions, and I'm going to literally ask you to write some of these things down because this will really transform not only what you're doing, but then how to assemble a team of advisors and have people that are helpful. So this is understanding your macro and micro networks, not micro of dirty jobs, but I do love him. All right, so understanding your macro is like jot down some of the companies that are in your region or even town. And I'm talking if you're from a small town, it might be, a couple of farms and a gas station. You might have to go out further and start looking at the region, although there's a lot of successful ag businesses in a lot of rural areas. Or this could be if you live in a large city. I'm just going to give my example in the sense that I live in the Indianapolis area. So Indianapolis has several large companies. Let's say Eli Lilly, right? Roche, Salesforce. These are gigantic companies. That would be a macro resource. Finding micro resources is now you can start delving in deeper and looking at now that you can even get on LinkedIn and start doing searches on either who you already know. So let's just say you listed Eli Lilly. Dave, your next door neighbor, works for them. That is a micro resource. Why do I say all these things? Is because a lot of times on the projects you might want to work on, you might either need some advice, some sponsorship, some donations maybe, and this is a really important thing to have. Also, that networking is really, really, really important, especially at your age. Let me tell you why. A lot of successful people might see themselves in you if you have a passion and you have a desire. Matter of fact, I don't think there's ever been a better time than right now than to be a teenager. Because let's be honest with each other, a lot of times the persona or what people's opinions of teenagers aren't exactly overly positive. So if you're doing the opposite of that, and this is also why I love LinkedIn, and I'm trying to beg you to be on LinkedIn more, if you are starting to work on a project for your town, more and more people in your macro and micro resources are going to say, hey, this kid. I've had several students get supported because they got discovered by their macro resources. Companies in your town, if they know that you're on a mission, will want to court you. Matter of fact, my first job out of college, not that I'm trying to brag, but my junior year of college, I wrote to a guy and then called him at a company that I thought looked interesting. I offered to buy him lunch. So I started off with the macro. I looked up this company, right? At the time it was called Indiana Business Modernization and Technology Corporation. I looked within. There was no LinkedIn back then. Matter of fact, the internet was really in the early stages. But I looked up some names and I found a guy's name and I reached out to him and I said, hey, can I shadow you for a day? And he says, we're not taking interns. Thank you for calling. I said, no. I will buy you lunch if I can just see what goes on at your place of employment. It sounds great. I just want to see if it's too good to be true. Finding that, and so by the way, he said, fine. So 20-year-old Don Wettrick drives down. I was in a college town and I drove and I spent the day with him. Actually, he ended up buying lunch for me. I asked to come back 2 and 3 more times. What happened is that I didn't talk to him for a while, and then right when I graduated, about 2 weeks afterwards, he goes, why haven't you reported to work yet? And I said, I didn't see that you guys posted any jobs. They go, we're not going to post jobs, we're waiting for you. Why? Is because I start building a network where instead of looking through the resumes and trying to interview people, if you're known and they start knowing you now and some of the things you're working on now, say that you're 14, 15, 16, 17, whatever years old, you're a proven commodity. If you have a desire to do more, if you have a willingness to be good, you're going to be setting yourself up for a lot of success. Then, understanding that micro networks, you start to expand. So please, whatever you're doing, start jotting down some of the companies that you might either want to work for in your town, or if you're like, there's just not enough in my town, great. Start looking up macro resources. Want to work for Google? Awesome. Write down Google. Now you need to do a little bit of research on who the micro resources are. Whether that be LinkedIn, or you just start looking at people just in general and seeing their list of, like, I want to be in community relations, and you look up who the community relations manager is at your company you want to work for. That's going to set you apart. Like, if there's ever been a more practical, like episode 1, I loved. This one I love even more, because this one will get you results. So your assignment today, jot down those macro resources. Who would you love to work for? Who would you just kill to work with? Maybe it's a famous YouTuber. A lot of my students would, like, by the way, there's a formula here. If your famous YouTuber has over 3 million subscribers, probably hard to get back to you, because she or he is probably responding back to too many emails to really notice. But if you have an up-and-coming YouTuber, like, hey, I see, so your macro was YouTube, and your micro resources were the person that you follow. If you really want a job or a career as being a YouTuber, reach out. How can I help you? How can I provide value? And never, ever send an email of saying, can I pick your brain, or can you do me a favor? Because a lot of times the people that you think are successful, they're busy. That's why they're successful. So if you want to send a message to them, the message should be, hey, I really appreciate how you work and what you do. Is there anything I can do to bring you value so I can learn? Do that. I'm promising you that works out in ways like you'll never, ever believe. Please do today's lesson. And I'm giving you the weekend to do this. If you're on our LinkedIn group, start adding in who you might want to work with. We have been blessed to work with some awesome people at the STARTedUP Foundation. We've done some crazy things in class, from getting Ninja to call the class, or Tim Ferriss. If you're on a mission, these micro resources will want to talk and maybe even work with you. So do that. Next thing is the video is, I'm really excited. Steve Sims, and I don't want to spoil his story. This guy can get things done at a level I've never seen. He knows how to get macro and micro resources. He recorded a video just for us, so I'm super excited. So this isn't an interview. He just recorded a video for us on how he gets things done and isn't afraid to ask. So, A, connect with Steve Sims, but B, watch this video and understand how this man gets things done. All right, enjoy your weekend. Come up with those macro and micro resources. I'll see you on Monday.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Steve Sims, and for any of you that don't know me, I'm the guy that millionaires and billionaires contact to give them more interesting cocktail stories. I've arranged things like people being married in the Vatican by the Pope, sending them down to the Titanic, walking the white carpet with Sir Elton John at his Oscar party, going on stage live with the rock band Journey. Basically, any of the massive over-the-top wishes, they come my way. Someone once said that I'm a Make-A-Wish Foundation for people with really large checkbooks. Anyway, Don contacted me and he said to me, look, we want you to do a video. We want you to do an inspirational video to put out to our viewers and our subscribers that can get them motivated and get them to do things. And I have to admit, it stumped me. I'm used to giving public speeches. I'm used to giving webinars and my courses and my consulting. But it's pretty tough when someone says, hey, I want you to get on there and inspire someone. Because you know you've only got a few seconds there to actually either grab the person's attention or give them something that's actually worthwhile. And this actually caused me a lot of stress and strain. Hence why, to be honest with you, it's been a few weeks I've actually got around to doing it. And I wanted to see what I could give you that, if you just followed this rule, would be the most impact to you. And I wanted to do it in the form of a story. So get comfortable. You see, I had a client of mine ask me a while back that he wanted to go and have a meal in Florence, and he was taking his fiance at the time and her mum and dad, and there was a hanger on, one of her mates, and he wanted to impress them that he was the big man and could set up this really amazing, elaborate dinner. So he contacted me to do it. And this story is quite old. You guys may have seen it. The story goes, and the accuracy goes, that I actually took over the Accademia Museum in Florence, set up a table of 6 at the feet of Michelangelo's David. Set up a table, a restaurant table, in the middle of a museum. And then while they were being served our pasta and they had a string quartet in the corner, I had Andrea Bocelli come in and serenade them during that dinner. Now, I would challenge anyone to think that they could design a more over-the-top, flamboyant, extravagant, picturesque, unique, rare Italian meal than that one. And it was pretty substantial. It was pretty fantastic. As I say, there's stories about it all over the place. But I wanted to bring you something that hadn't been spoken about so much. Maybe a couple of times, but really not that much. You probably haven't come across it. You see, I'm a great believer in using the relationships I have to introduce me to the people that I need to speak to. You see, if I come up to you and I go, hey, my name's Steve Sims, I know Elton John, Elon Musk, Richard Branson, I've got people married by the Pope, and I've sent them down to the Titanic, I'm a big deal. You'd think I was an arrogant, and you'd be right to think so. But if your best mate said the exact same things to you, now it's credible. Why? Because it's come from a source that you trust. So whenever I try to get anything in life, I always try to get somebody else to make that connection for me. So it's a case of, yeah, Johnny told me to speak to you. You did this, that's fantastic. It's the best way to enter into a room, a heart, a mind, a conversation. But here's the hook that I wanted you to go on about, or wanted you to kind of like take away with you. As this was being done, as I was getting people to get me the Accademia, as I was getting people to get me permission to have a meal inside the museum, as I was getting people to introduce me to Andrea Bocelli, the string quartet, the piano, the security, all of these things, there were a few people around the outsides that weren't exactly hospitable, weren't exactly welcoming, and just looked at me like this guy with a lot of money that was organising things for, pampered rich kids. Not too far off the point, let's be blunt. And there was one guy that had actually not spoken to me, and he was one of the seniors of the Accademia, but not the big boy. One of the directors, one of the, the chiefs, but not the real controllers. And so during the night, we were getting it all ready. The table was being set up. There was the string quartet rehearsing, piano being laid out. Andrea Bocelli's in the corner, warbling up. And I saw this guy kind of like stood, hands folded, just staring at all of this, pretty nonchalant. And I called him. I was stood in the middle, and I called him. I said, hey, come on over here. And he came over to me. And I said to him, to be honest with you, I was being a bit of a here, because I know this guy had given me friction during this put up because he hadn't got involved in any form of assistance. So I thought to myself, being nasty, I'm going to let him know who's boss. It was a real ego push for me, but that's what it was. So I said to him, hey, come over here. And I said to him, what do you think of the table? He's like, yes, that is beautiful, that is beautiful. I said, oh, and Andrea Bocelli's there warbling away, getting ready for tonight. That's pretty impressive, isn't it? And he's like, yes, it is very impressive. Excuse my Italian accent. And I said, and look at this, we've got the string quartet and we've got a table of 6 at the feet of David. I bet you never thought that had happened. He was like, no, that is amazing. I said, and so let me ask you this. How come I managed to pull it off? Now, as I say, I was being a bit of a bully. And I expected him to turn around and go, because no one knows how to negotiate like you. No one's as connected as you. No one knows people and psychology like you to be able to do this. No one's as powerful as you, Mr. Sims. And he looked at me dead square in the eyes. He was dead square in the eyes and turned around and went, no one's ever asked. And it hit me. It hit me so much that my body just went, ugh. Now, I'm going to tell you now, that was about 3 years ago, and that guy is one of my best friends since. We went out, we got drunk. He's often called me his favourite, blah, blah, blah. But, and I've told that story a couple of times, but not too many times. The point of the story is I went home wondering how many times had I overglorified what had pulled off, when in simplicity, all I had done was ask the question when so many people hadn't. You see, as a little child, you want a sweet, you go, I want a sweet, I want a sweet, I want a sweet. You keep asking until you get it, okay? You don't get embarrassed about asking, but as you get older, you do, okay? The fear of rejection, the fear of a no. Saying no to someone, where's my scars by getting a no? So this guy pointed out to me very blatantly that no one had ever asked, so no one had ever got it. So I'm urging you, if the one thing you can take away from this video, other than my stunning good looks and storytelling ability, is you must always ask for what you want, okay? What you need, what you demand, what you desire, ask. If you don't ask, how can you be upset when you don't get? All right, so I hope this inspires, I hope it invigorates, I hope it motivates, but if you do nothing with it, then you've wasted your time and mine. Get out there and ask for what you want, and I look forward to seeing you being powerful and wonderful.